But I will say this. I look at that Chiefs wide receiver room, and I'm like, I want somebody that can run with them. And it's great that you can tackle, not when you're 10 yards behind them.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel, presented by Connors and Ferris, Mike Catalana, Dan Fates in Orchard Park. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Round 1 of the NFL draft in the books. Maxwell Hairston, the newest Buffalo Bill. Michael, I want your reaction.
I'm surprised. This is against type for them. Now, I'm going to give them this. They needed speed. They need more athleticism. It's a different kind of athleticism. He does not fit the Bills' normal profile. He's not 6'1", 190, plays the run, plays in zone. Like, that's not who this guy is. He's an exciting player. He looks like he could be a lot of fun, but he is against type without question. Dan, are you on the same page with that?
Yeah, frankly, I was stunned, maybe is a little bit too much, but I was really surprised. Maxwell Hairston, when we started talking about corners, and I was very high on corners, he was the one guy I crossed off my list because, to Mike's point, it just didn't fit. I will give Beane the fact that they need to add speed, and they went out and got literally the fastest player in this draft, ran a 4.28 at the combine. But his weaknesses is that he is a, quote, liability in the run game. He is not a good open field tackler. And while you talk about speed and you can talk about his charisma and his smile and his character, those don't cover. And this is a guy that I tweeted out that he had some reps in a Texas game this year against Isaiah Bond. And some reps are really great. Some reps, he's 10 yards off because he's not really a man corner. So if the Bills play a lot of zone, right? And you don't really need a ton of speed in the sense to play zone. Now he does. They talk about his instincts, but tackling is a big surprise to me. And now Brandon did say, like, he acknowledged that fact that sometimes he got, quote, big boyed, but added that he's beefed up from 183 at the combine to now 190s. That's right now in April. Like, everybody's kind of beefing up. And what's your playing weight going to be? I'm surprised because I didn't think he was their type. I give Beane all the credit for speed. We have been saying they need speed in athletes on the defensive side of the ball. This guy is speed. He's the definition of speed. I'm just surprised because tackling is something they stress time and time again. And this guy's weakness is tackling. And that's just a big surprise to me.
No, I hear you, Dan. We were doing the live feed and I was like, wow. I agree where when we were doing draft prep, and I'm not grinding tape, but when you look at a guy's profile and you see the tackling issues, you see the liability in the run game issues, you see some of those things. And those to me are not just, oh, that's denoted as a weakness. That is a glaring weakness to me. And so I agree. I crossed him off my list because I just felt like, not a fit. If you can't do the fundamentals well in this defense that they rely on you to do, then I don't think it's going to work out well. That being said, he does have the speed factor. He does seem like a very incredibly likable guy. I mean, there's a video on Twitter of his teammates from Kentucky reacting to the fact that he got drafted. It's almost a minute and a half long of them celebrating. He played with Ray Davis. They were both at Kentucky, that relationship. So it seems like he is a fit in terms of personality and charisma and all that stuff. But when you look at some of the weaknesses in his profile, it to me is shocking because there were other players on the draft board, the Trey Amos, whatever. Guys like that, the Thomas kid, like players like that I thought would be a better fit with the Bills.
Dan, what's the thought on Will Johnson? Because this is the guy that obviously was ranked high. Look, I have to say this. I do think in most places, Hairston was ranked as a corner in general higher than like Amos and those players. And Azare and those players. He was ranked as a higher player. We're talking about his fit with the Bills and what they like to do. Well, Will Johnson was, I mean, people had him top 10, and we
Yeah.
talked about it. We talked about the injury. What did you hear tonight?
Well, it seems like Schefter tweeted out it was a knee injury that was concerning enough to be a medical red flag for a lot of teams. Will Johnson, we all thought could be a top 10 pick. It's, from what I've heard, it seems to be a cartilage issue and somewhat of a degenerative injury that will get worse over time, as Matt Bovee walks past me there. This is something that obviously it wasn't just the Bills. It was very telling to me when the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, the guy that recruited him to come to Michigan and helped him win a lot of football games and needed a corner after they let Asante Samuel Jr. go. They needed a corner and they passed on him. To me, that was the biggest red flag to put in the first round. Now, on comparison, Maxwell Harrison also had a shoulder injury. One of the concerns is that his 5'11", 183-pound frame will struggle to deal with the physicality and the rigor of an NFL season. That's not great, Bob. So
Yeah.
that's part of another concern. Where can this guy do it? So maybe Will Johnson's still available for the Bills early in the second round. Maybe Trey Amos is still available. I don't know. Do they double dip at corner? That's still a possibility. I see the upside in the talent and the raw athleticism. But like you guys said, to me and to Jenna's point, and I just want to get one thing in because I was talking to Carl Jones about it, and we were joking around a few days ago, and it was about, it's an NBA comparison. Normally we do a lot of baseball and golf. Here's the basketball comparison for you, right? Luka Doncic doesn't even try and play defense. He doesn't. He doesn't try and play defense at all. Steph Curry is also a really bad defender, but he tries. What's worse? A guy on defense that doesn't try and is bad, or a guy that tries and gives effort and can't do it? Because here's my thought. Like, Beane says that Maxwell Hairston is a effort. Like, it's not like he's afraid to tackle. He puts in the effort. He's a willing tackler. That's what he said. Quote, willing tackler. He just struggles to do it because of the size of his body. And Mike, to your point where a lot of teams had probably had Hairston up higher, there's the thought that Hairston, because of his size, would be a nickel. And we talked about this. The Bills have a nickel. So I know he played on the outside, but there was the thought he could be on the inside as Matt Bovee ducks underneath me. Those are just some of my points.
Yeah, I don't think, so Taron Johnson changes everything with this team. He's
everything.
Sometimes you think of a nickel, you think of the extra back coming in. Taron Johnson is a slot corner. I don't think there's anything precluding them from taking another corner because you can't have enough. And I'm not saying they're going to do it in the second round, but they could take another corner. I will say this. I don't know what his frame is like. I mean, he does look a little on the smaller side. Most of the other corners are in the 6 feet, 6'1", or low 190s. It's not like you're talking about 220-pound corners here. So I don't think he's so tiny that he can't make plays. And there is something about being willing. Only thing I will say is I'm surprised like you. I didn't think that type would fit them. But I will say this. I look at that Chiefs wide receiver room, and I'm like, I want somebody that can run with them. And it's great that you can tackle, but not when you're 10 yards behind him. Like, this kid will jump routes, will make plays. And it's funny you mentioned Asante Samuel. I was thinking of Asante Samuel Sr., his dad, when he was playing. But there are guys that make plays on the ball that aren't known as tacklers. And yes, you need to make those plays. But at the same time, it'd be nice on third down if somebody's covering. And we'll see if this guy can cover. I mean, because I think they believe he can.
Yeah.
I like the fact, Jenna, that his speed can make up for other flaws. So he's said to have instincts, and he seems to be a phenomenal teammate. Charisma through the roof, all of those things. And I like that you have recovery speed with him. That he gets beat, I think he can make up for it. And that's a big bonus. And we've been saying, so again, I don't want to come off sounding overly critical because we have been hounding for the Bills on defense to be more athletic and to add speed. That's what we've been saying for years.
Yeah.
They did it. So I do want to give credit where it's due. They did check that box. I just didn't think he fit the other pieces.
Credit to Beane. Is that what you're saying?
He got
in
speed.
some respects.
All right. So the D tackle thing was tough tonight because, I mean, listen, Jenna said she like Grant. Well, Miami Dolphins must be Buffalo Plus watchers because they were like, damn, we got to pick this guy early.
Yeah.
That is, listen, I think he'll be a good player for them. That is crazy early for what appears to be at the moment a 2-down defensive lineman. But Miami needs help on defense, so they did it. Those tackles started to go fast, and I'm looking at who's available, and
Jenna's pick.
What? No, Mike.
Alfred Collins.
Yeah, Alfred Collins is still out there.
Yeah, and you know who else is out there too?
Well, there's many.
Darius Alexander.
Yes,
Yes.
that is true.
He's going to be their pick at 62, Darius Alexander.
I would not be shocked.
By the way, Hairston was a 30 visit for the Bills, right?
He was.
He was.
So that is interesting that they had him there. Let's talk a little bit about the guys who are out there. You mentioned like Will Johnson. What would you think if they took him second, third round?
Sure.
I mean, sometimes you look and you go, you just signed Benford. I mean, they need that. So you've got Will Johnson, Trey Amos. I like him. Be great. Mike Green, edge, is out there. Ezeraku from BC is out there that a lot of people liked.
Yeah.
Femi Oladejo of UCLA, an edge that they brought in for a 30 visit, is out there.
Xavier Watts in terms of safety.
Safety play. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, there's a lot of talent still out there. It's nice that they have
Luther
2 picks
Burden
in the second round.
Yes.
But seriously, if you come out with a small corner and a wide receiver, you know what I mean? Like hopefully there's a D tackle, or again, they're making deals. I don't know what their plan is, but it would have been tough. It seemed like it would have been tough. Some of the moves up were wild.
The
like
Falcons?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like,
you better hope James Pierce Jr. is an all-pro.
Yeah.
Jenna, what's your thoughts? We've just been yodeling.
No, I mean, I think I'm surprised that they went for Hairston. I think they addressed a need in terms of corner, and obviously I think they could double dip because of maybe they have concerns, but it felt like to me, I don't want to say it was like a panic pick at all, but I also felt like it just wasn't the direction I was expecting because of the concerns that I had. And I feel bad knocking a guy before even seeing him out on the field in terms of in person. But to me, it's like, that Beane needs to hit at least a double. And is this guy that has and you're taking a big swing, I think, with this guy, is he going to pan out to that? And because you need that hit, I just think it was a bolder move than I was expecting.
I'm still here. Camera just fell. Still here.
No, I mean, they could have, to Jenna's point, they could have gone more to type and taken Amos right there in that spot. And I don't think anybody would have thought it was a reach at 30.
I agree.
A lot of people had him there, but they have to follow their board, right? So it wasn't like there weren't corners there. They could have taken.
That's what I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jenna. I cut you off.
No, that is why. And again, this is where it's hard with the draft is you're giving instant reaction, but obviously this takes 2 to 3 years for everything to pan out. But I just wonder if we'll look back on this moment and be like, damn, this guy was there and this guy was there and this guy was there.
Of course.
Because I just worry about how the skill matches up.
Well, and the skill is the traits. He has very good traits in total, right? It's just different kind of traits. Like Kyer Elam, I'm not saying this guy because Elam failed, but Kyer Elam physically fit the traits that the Bills usually go for.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be able to play.
Can I be psychologist too for a second?
You go ahead.
Beane didn't seem thrilled.
I agree. Even the reaction in the room. It seemed usually there's hugs and maybe we got a bad cutaway, but like, I was like, wow. And you're right. It felt like he was immediately on like the defense mode.
He highlighted the negatives about his own player that he picked.
And he said he's young already.
Oh yeah, I don't want.
And I was like, I don't want to hear that.
He was young. He's going to they're going to get him on the weight plan. Yeah, and he's probably going to get big boyed at times.
Yeah.
Don't love that. Hey, guess what? Cincinnati has some pretty big wide receivers.
Yeah. Listen,
okay, and
but at the same time, you also can't have bigger corners who can't run. This secondary can't run. They cannot run. I love Trey White. This guy is the 180-degree difference of Trey White out there physically. Like Trey is not.
I would have loved Beane to say we're expecting him to be the starter. And he said that's a good reason.
Out of respect to Trey, you don't say that.
I don't think you say that either.
No.
But you're right, Dan. That's the element that like I feel like I picked up on where I was just like, he seems defensive, doesn't seem thrilled. And like, yeah, you're picking at 30. Like I get it. It's way far back in terms of you're almost at the second round, but I feel like in different spots it's been very different. It's Matt Beauvais.
Set expectations low.
Yeah.
Instant reaction, talking to my ear. Talk dirty to me.
Oh my God.
Can't teach speed. Everybody freaked out last year when Xavier Worthy didn't get picked by the Bills. Now they draft somebody who's fast. Like, oh my God, he can't tackle. I don't care if he can't tackle.
He plays, but he plays defense.
Okay, whatever. I like
Dan, you know what?
I like speed.
It's like taking. It's like taking a. It's like taking
almost the exact same size as Tre'Davious White.
Trey White was 190.
Yeah, this guy's in the 180s.
He said on the call, he said he's 192. So everybody's like, oh my God, he's so small. They're the exact. I lost my voice, by the way. I don't normally say. He is same size as Trey White. He's faster than Trey White, and like, okay, I don't know. I like upside. It's the 30th pick. What do you think? He's a perfect prospect?
Mr. Sunshine. I love it. We needed some of this on Buffalo. No, but we've all agreed. We've said the same thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't think he was a fit.
Okay, here's what's better. Will Johnson with the questions that he has about the injury.
In the first round, it's Hairston.
In the first round, it's Hairston. So then you get to Trey Amos. Clearly, you know who knows more about football than me? Brandon Beane. They like Hairston over Trey Amos. Clearly, the coaching staff believes.
But that doesn't mean they've had a perfect.
I just have a hard time getting upset about a corner who would have been taken earlier if he didn't have an injury. So, all right,
but
have a good night. Bye, guys.
What? Oh, I just want to tell Beane. Okay, that's fair. I just want to tell Beauvais though, like, yeah, you're right. Does Brandon Beane know more about football than I do? Yes, but there have been moments in the past where he has picked players where I think I don't see the fit. I don't see how this guy's going to work. I don't like this. Just because Beane knows more about football than I do doesn't mean that I can't obviously see. Sometimes I think with these guys, there's so much information that you kind of lose the forest through the trees of like some of the things that you're like, you know what? Big picture, I don't really feel like I see it. But when you're in the minutia, it's hard to get that perspective sometimes. And I'm not saying that's exactly what happens with Beane or the Bills, but just in general, when I'm looking at some of these picks, I didn't like the Dalton Kincaid when it happened. I didn't like the Keon Coleman when it happened.
Right. And to Beauvais' point, just because Beane knows more football doesn't mean we can't be critical of a pick and also show the other side. Otherwise, we'd be sitting there going, all of his picks are great because he knows more football than us. It's our job also to show a little bit of the other side. And again, talking about speed, we already addressed that before Beauvais crashed the pod like some savage. Like,
you're right, Dan. The other thing I would say is in terms of that, they stayed at 30 and made a pick. So I said to you last year, when they ended up trading back twice and going into the second round, it was pretty obvious they wanted to get out of the first round, and then they ended up taking Coleman. This time, they're just sitting there at 30. Mm-hmm. They could have taken an edge. They could have taken another corner. They could have taken Luther Burden, right? They could have. There was ways they could have gone. And
Beane said they had a first-round grade on Maxwell. Max. He goes by Max Hairston.
Okay, they did bring him in for a visit, and maybe they did. If that was the case, if that is the case, I think they would have been looking to trade up to get him. Maybe they were too. Was he asked about that at all?
He said they were making calls to move up. They were fielding calls to go back. It was every GM speak, Mike. And again,
no, the reason I say that is if I'm sitting there and I have
on him, do you really think that he would have said we didn't have a first round grade on him?
No.
I don't think he might have volunteered it that they had one. He just wouldn't have said anything. But I look because they didn't have a first round grade on. Well, I guess that's why they. I mean, think about it. If you take Keon Coleman and you say we didn't have a first round grade on, but we'll sure as hell take him at the third pick of the second round. I mean, that
first
doesn't.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, first pick of the second round. That doesn't do anything. I'm just looking at it to say. I mean, obviously, we're judging this, but the idea of saying they know more, you know.
And we should never have any comment.
Yeah, and the other part is
the channel shouldn't exist.
They pick Kyer. And listen, I'm hopeful, like every Bills fan is. I'm hopeful that this kid is dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's an element. I will say this, if this works, and this is that kid, thank the Lord they have a different dynamic in that secondary. They have slow safeties, and Christian Benford is no burner. They are not a speed team at all, and they can do that. Now,
he does seem like a good kid, too.
Seems like a great guy.
He's a good kid. I hope he's got an edge. I like a little bit of an edge. Seems like he does. He took 3 to the house. Like, there is a lot to like about this kid as a player. Played in the SEC against top competition. It's just, can he overcome these other things that hold him back? They're betting on that because there was other guys they could have had and they decided not to. I get the Will Johnson thing. That must be like when they get red flag like this, they're not picking them, or they hold off and say not until the third or whatever it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cartilage issue, degenerative, which is can't get better. The one person I talked to, my one source, kind of described it as a ticking time bomb. It's not a matter of if his knee will fail. It's just a matter of when. So that's that.
All right. Okay. What, real quick, your no players, prediction, positions, what do they do tomorrow? Or now this would be that we are into today. Friday.
Edge, running back.
Ooh. Interesting.
Okay. I still have them at D tackle. I still think they're going to pick a tackle. It may not be a one technique to play in the middle, but I still think they take a D tackle, and I think they could take a safety.
That's my other one.
Emmanuel's out there. Imagine that. You talk about the athletic profile changing. That guy is 6'3", 220 playing safety, but Emmanuel's from South Carolina. He's on the board too. Jenna, what do you think position-wise?
I could see them doing edge. I could honestly see them doing edge and interior guy.
Yeah.
Like D-line.
Alfred Collins.
That, and then top 4 picks. So honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they double dipped at corner.
They could.
Add a little insurance. And then wide receiver.
Hey,
I'm in.
Now Beane's all in the speed train. So let's see you pick a wide receiver with speed.
See, this is what men do, though. You wanted him to get a speed guy last year.
Men have a type, Dan, and he went against type.
And there's the open.
I don't know about
Wait
that,
until the end.
All right.
Okay.
Get home and
get home safe.
Covered. Yes.
Okay.
We'll have you covered. So if you're watching this, get ready. We'll be live on the air when the Bills are picking. Who knows? They got a couple picks in the 4th. Maybe they move back into the 3rd too. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Plenty more draft coverage for Mike Catalana and Dan Fates in Orchard Park. I'm Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Fairs.